you and the daughter. Let's try that again. Let us all unite and celebrate together the victories won of our generation. I go. Yeah, I can go. Give me Jesus. Let us all unite and celebrate together the victories won for our liberation. Let us dedicate ourselves to rise together to defend our liberty and unity. Oh, sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa the tree of life. Let us all unite and sing together to uphold the bonds that frame our destiny. Let us dedicate ourselves to fight together for lasting peace and justice on earth. Oh, sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa the tree of life. Let us all unite and toil together to give the best we have to Africa, the cradle of mankind and fount of culture, our pride and hope and break of dawn. Oh, sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa the tree of life.
Thank you so much, Zolani and Aaron. We may be seated. The President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency Madame Cyril Ramaphosa, Dr. Kayure Moende, the DG of Planning Commission of Namibia, representing the head of state of the Republic of Namibia, Minister of Energy and Electricity, Dr. Cyril Ramaphosa, Minister of Tourism, Patricia de Lille, Minister of the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, Mr. Park Stowell, Minister of Transport, Barbara Creasy, Minister of Higher Education, Dr. Nabuthe Ngabane, Ministers and Deputy Ministers present from across our continent, the Honorable Mr. Lerato Matawane, the African Union Infrastructure and Energy Commissioner, representatives of the United Nations, Premier of the Northern Cape, Dr. Romani Saul, Premier of the Western Cape, Alan Levy, representatives of the Premier of the Eastern Cape, members of the diplomatic corps, members of the business community, members of the media, our partners from Japan, European Union and beyond, our sponsors, distinguished guests, ladies, gentlemen, conforming people. I think I'm covered when I say all the protocol observed. A very good morning and welcome to the third Green Hydrogen Summit. My name is Nzika Kunza and I'm so pleased to be your program director today at an event that focuses on green hydrogen and its potential to grow the South African economy with the resources of the future, as Minister and tomorrow will highlight some exciting new announcements, pledges and projects within the green hydrogen space, and also the many partners from Germany, from the Netherlands, from Japan, and so much more who have seen the vision and work that have been done and have come on board. Just before we begin the formal part of our program, some house rules, please may I ask that we switch our phones to silence. Please may I ask us to check so when people are speaking, we're not interrupted by ringtones. There's an exhibition hall of really exciting players in the green hydrogen space from around the world in 4D. If you have a moment to do that at lunch or after, please go in and speak to them and interact with them. After lunch, the panel discussions will not be here, but they will be upstairs. There are ushers around, so if you need any directions, please ask them. The exits are behind you. Please make note of them in the unlikely event of emergency. Wi-Fi password is Africa Green. That's one word, all caps. And those are all announcements I have for now. Please may I ask the Premier of the UK, Alan Murray, to make his way to the stage for the results.
Molweni, Wankiyakile, goeiedag en baie welkom. Welcome to each and every one of you to this third Green Hydrogen Summit. I have the honor and privilege coming from this province, this city and this country to welcome you all and kick off this conference. Thank you very much, Program Director, for the all protocols and a long list. But I do want to say, Mr. President, thank you very much for being here. Our Minister of Energy, of course, this is about energy, and all the ministers that are here, the deputy ministers. I must also say that we have ministers from across Africa. We have representatives from embassies, ambassadors, consul generals. We have international investors. We have finance institutions, business leaders, innovators, I want to say, in the energy space, our universities, the international community. It really is an honor and a privilege for me to welcome you here to this conference. And I do so not only as the Premier of the Western Cape, I want to say as the Premier, as part of the three Capes, because Premier Saul and Premier Mabuyani and myself really have embraced this green hydrogen project, and I want to also add our neighboring country, Namibia, and the Deputy President of Namibia and the Minister of Energy. Welcome, because on behalf of all of us, I really welcome each and every one of you. I also think that in the anthem that we've just sung, the cradle of mankind, Africa, and in actual fact, the modernization of man actually was done right here in the southern parts of Africa. So specifically on behalf of not only South Africa, but Africa, can we warmly welcome the rest of the world and say to all of you who come from other continents in the world, welcome home. I want to also say that for me, it's about moving beyond strategy. 3 years ago, it was an honor to welcome everybody to come and start to talk about green hydrogen, and we have now moved way beyond talk. It's about further than talk, it's now action. And it really is amazing to see the kind of work that has been done. I know that many of you were involved in yesterday's program, and specifically the media, in other parts of our great country, having a look at what is already being done, and specifically, I'm sure the Minister will speak about that just now, specifically the work that's been done in Gauteng around this green hydrogen progress report that we are able to give and table today. For us here in the province of the Western Cape, it is also an absolute honor to have this and host this conference again here in Cape Town, the mother city. And as we all come together from from the Eastern Cape, the Western Cape, and the potential of ports in the Northern Cape. When we look at that partnership with the Namibian colleagues and what they are already doing and really doing well at, we cannot export green hydrogen or derivatives thereof when we ourselves in South Africa have load shedding. And Minister, thank you very much. We have definitely gone a lot further. We do not have load shedding in South Africa at the moment because that would not be right for our citizens in our country. And so we've shown that we can get it done. Here in the Western Cape, we also playing our part. We're already 2,000 megawatts into our own plans here in our municipalities across the province. And if we don't get water and energy right, we can't create the investment climate that we all need and that green hydrogen needs to take us forward. We also have our growth for jobs strategies in place, and I would like to report back after that first green hydrogen conference that we are also playing our part in making sure that the companies like Karen, who are already showing pilot projects in green hydrogen, I want to think of Danelle and Ryan Mittal, who are also showing and already producing green projects, green hydrogen projects. This shows the commitment, not just talk, it is about action. It is about the next stage. And I want to say that our colleagues from Germany, who I ran into earlier this morning, made a really apt comment and said we're moving from PowerPoint to gigawatts, and that's exactly what we are doing. Those are the opportunities. Now we want to talk action, and action means gigawatts. And so here in the province, we're playing our part, in our neighboring provinces, we play our part, and perhaps also at this time, I do want to say that Premier of the Eastern Cape, Dr. Mariani, is also suffering the consequences of climate change. And that has got to be a big driving force for us in making sure that we get this right. And we already are with our citizens in the Eastern Cape. The last number I got was 49 citizens.
It's on here.
And that must actually drive us even harder to ensure that we land these projects. If I look at the current infrastructure, pipeline of infrastructure on the Three Capes MOU, we've got the potential hydrogen pipeline, and this is being worked on at the moment by Kaskini and the Dutch government, and we thank them very much for that. And the pre-feasibility studies are completed, and this looks at that pipeline from Lüderitz, Boekelbaai, all the way down to Cape Town. The grid development that is taking place in the Three Capes, and this obviously also brings in the JET program, because marking the differences that we've made in the last 3 years, where we've enabled our partnerships with all of you from around the world. And I think that this is the land of opportunity right now, the moment. We welcome every single one of you, and we look forward to the next 2 days of the deliberation. As the PowerPoints move to be yours, that is exactly why we're here. So thank you very much for joining us, and I wish you all the best for the next 2 days.
Thank you very much, Premier. We appreciate the context and the welcome, and I think we're going to continue hearing that first PowerPoint to gigawatt throughout today. Please may I now ask the Minister of Electricity and Energy, Dr. Cyril Ramaphosa, to make his way to the stage to address us on the African Green Plan.
Honorable President Cyril Ramaphosa, Dr. Kaire Mwende, Minister Pascal, Minister Barbara Christie, Minister Dr. Louchen Kabani, Minister Patricia Tugil, Rahman Fabani, the EU Infrastructure and Energy Commissioner, the Premier's present here, the three were acknowledged of the Capes. I also want to acknowledge the presence of the Premier of the Free State, the Deputy Minister Ibrahim Mohammed Al-Daha from Somaliland, Deputy Minister, MECs and Mayors present. The Director General in the Presidency of the Republic of South Africa, distinguished international guests, partners, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, Mr. President, it is an honor to welcome you to the African Green Hydrogen Summit. We gather at a time when our continent is called upon to define not only how we respond to the global energy transition, but how we lead it and how it is positioned to lead Africa's inclusive growth, industrialization, and development narrative towards the AU Agenda 2060. The energy complex has become a consequential feature of global geopolitical orientation, a tool for economic diplomacy, and a weapon of trade discrimination and preferential treatment. The evolving energy complex offers unparalleled opportunities for the continent and her people. The fact that the continent is home to mineral resources that will undergird the transition, including unmatched renewable energy assets, places the continent front center of a reimagined energy future. The continent should enter the energy discourse better aligned, coordinated, ambitious, informed by sovereign and continental development motives, whilst embracing the principles of multilateralism and equal but differentiated responsibilities. In this context, green hydrogen must be understood not merely as a clean fuel, but as a strategic enabler of Africa's structural transformation. It holds the potential to reposition the continent within global value chain, not as an exporter of raw materials, but as a competitive industrial actor. Harnessed strategically, it can anchor new industrial ecosystems from green steel and fertilizers to sustainable mobility and synthetic fuels. These are not abstract possibilities. They are within reach, provided with design policy framework that localize value, deepen intra-African trade, and direct investment flows towards infrastructure, skills, and technology transfer that serve the interests the logic of dependency that has historically defined Africa's insertion into the global economy. Instead of reinforcing extractive patterns, Africa can lead with an agenda of beneficiation, regional integration, and sovereign industrial development. We must be unapologetic in demanding a fair place at the green negotiating table. Africa's role in the global energy transition cannot be one of accommodation. It must be one of agency. Our narrative must be led by African voices, grounded in African realities, and committed to African futures. As the world seeks new energy alliances and supply chains, Africa must shape its energy destiny through solidarity, strategy, statecraft, turning the promise of green energy into a pillar of continental prosperity. For South Africa, this is equally not a conceptual debate. It is a foundational pillar of our long-term planning strategy. The medium-term development plan of the 7th administration outlines 3 national priorities, namely inclusive growth and job creation, reducing poverty and the high cost of living, and building a capable and developmental space. Green hydrogen speaks to all 3. It has the potential to drive new industrial value chain, power low carbon infrastructure, and unlock skills and employment in both traditional and emerging sectors. Today, we also launched 2 critical installments in our approach to harnessing the renewable sector to drive green hydrogen production. Shortly after the President's keynote address this morning, we will formally launch the South African Renewable Energy Master Plan, in short, SAREM, a cabinet-approved sector-wide industrial strategy that anchors our energy transition in local manufacturing, value addition, and job creation. SAREM is not just a roadmap for expanding renewable energy generation, it is a blueprint for how to industrialize through energy, developed through a rigorous social contracting process between government, industry, labor, and civil society. It sets clear targets for localization, supplier development, skills transfer, and green economy investment attraction. Secondly, we are also launching the most comprehensive report to date on Africa's green hydrogen potential, a landmark publication that brings together the full breadth of our continent's technical readiness. Conceptualized in 2023, this report was designed to illuminate the depth and richness of research that already exists on green hydrogen across Africa, and to get a second life to the foundational studies that have often gone underutilized. Produced with the support of GIZ and authored by a consortium of leading technical experts, it synthesizes more than 35 studies from South Africa alone, spanning detailed assessment on port readiness, cost competitiveness, domestic and export demand modeling, renewable energy and transmission capacity, critical mineral linkages, certification frameworks, job creation, and socio-economic impacts. But let us be clear, the window for Africa to shape the rules of this emerging market is narrowing. Other regions are moving fast. With public subsidies, regulatory incentives, and long-term off-take strategies, if we delay, we risk importing technologies, importing skills, and once again, exporting unprocessed potential. Africa is not starting from scratch. What we possess, sun, wind, land, ports, and ambition, makes the continent one of the most compelling and competitive green hydrogen production zones in the world. The International Renewable Energy Agency international coordination, green hydrogen can and must be backbone of a new African industrial era. South Africa's approach to green hydrogen is not aspirational. It is deliberate, structured, and already underway. As a country, we have a clear choice to develop hydrogen not just as a climate response, but as a catalyst for reindustrialization, economic transformation, regional competitiveness, and energy sovereignty. We are also positioning ourselves in the value chain, not just at the resource end. The Department of Trade, Industry and Competition is working closely with industry to localize key components of the hydrogen economy, including electrolyzer manufacturing and fuel cells assembly. Our platinum reserves, nearly 75% of the world's known supply, make us uniquely competitive in this space, particularly in proton exchange membrane fuel cell technology. The global race to scale green hydrogen is accelerating. According to the Hydrogen Council and McKinsey, over 1,000 hydrogen projects have been announced globally, representing over $570 billion in planned investments, of which roughly one-third is targeted for final investment decisions by 2030. Countries that succeed in attracting a meaningful share of this capital are those that present clear regulatory pathways, cost-competitive logistics, and dependable offtake arrangements. South Africa is taking active steps to position itself within this competitive environment. One of the most significant efforts lies in mobilizing blended finance. The hydrogen sector, particularly at early stages, is capital intensive and commercially untested at scale. The Department of Electricity and Energy, working with the National Treasury, the Industrial Development Corporation, the Development Bank of South Africa, is advancing instruments to de-risk early projects through concessional capital, credit enhancement instruments, and project preparation facilities. Mr. President, one of the most immediate imperatives is to create a fit-for-purpose regulatory framework. Green hydrogen cuts across several traditionally siloed domains: energy, water, environment, transport, trade, and industrial development. This means the enabling environment must be deliberately cross-sectional and outcomes-oriented. The Department of Energy and Electricity is currently engaging with the National Energy Regulator of South Africa, the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition, and the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment to harmonize licensing, environmental permitting, and industrial incentives. International cooperation also plays a crucial role in reinforcing domestic policy systems. South Africa is currently chairing the G20 Energy Transitions Working Group, where hydrogen certification, infrastructure planning, and standards alignment are on the agenda. These platforms offer an opportunity to shape global norms whilst ensuring that South Africa's frameworks remain aligned and strategically positioned. Green hydrogen sits at the nexus of energy, manufacturing, transport, and logistics, and its value chain includes everything from renewable generation and electrolyzer fabrication to storage, pipeline, and export logistics. According to the International Renewable Energy Agency, hydrogen will support over 2 million jobs globally by 2050. In South Africa, estimates from the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research and Trade and Industrial Policy Strategies suggest that the hydrogen economy will generate between 20,000 to 30,000 direct and indirect jobs by engaging with institutions such as the National Youth Development Agency and sectoral education and training authorities to ensure hydrogen initiatives are not only accessible but actively empowered. Programs such as internship pipelines, bursaries in electrochemical engineering, and SMME incubators must be supported in regions near catalytic projects. Mr. President, the African Union's Agenda 2023 calls for a continent that is integrated, prosperous, and driven by its own citizens. Green hydrogen provides a rare opportunity to operationalize that vision by aligning climate goals with economic diversification. Recognizing this, the Africa Green Hydrogen Alliance, which we have the privilege of leading, comprising of South Africa, Egypt, Kenya, Mauritania, Morocco, and Namibia, is already shaping joint policy position, certification pathways, and project pipeline. Through this platform, South Africa is working to ensure the development of shared infrastructure, common regulatory frameworks, and regional industrial value chain that reduce duplication and build scale. At its core, green hydrogen is not just a technology. It is a diplomacy tool, a regional development catalyst, and a gateway to a more diversified and decarbonized African economy. South Africa's approach recognizes that national success depends on regional coherence and global credibility. This summit and the partnership it inspires must be seen as part of a longer arc, one that repositions Africa not as a climate victim, but as a solutions provider in the global energy transition. Let this summit mark a turning point from ambition to alignment, from planning to implementation. Africa has the resources, the partnerships, and the resolve to lead in the emerging green hydrogen economy. What remains is to move from we face forward, close quotes. Thank you. We go together with the speeches. So it's a great honor for me to invite the President of the Republic, President of South Africa, but also someone who has championed the cause of green hydrogen. You have picked up in the delivery of the State of the Nation address. He makes the point that we must resolve the economic question, the growth question. And he has identified that green hydrogen is one of the principal enablers of that reimagined future and the need for us to grow this green hydrogen agenda, but also we mentioned yesterday that initially when we inaugurated this, we call it the South Africa Green Hydrogen Conference, and the President had a different view that for us to be able to harness the the renewable energy endowment. It's important that we are deliberate and intentional, and we configure the conference to embrace the potential of the continent. Hence the Africa Green Hydrogen Conference as an idea of the president. And our intention is to make sure that the Keynote, the Western Cape makes a point from PowerPoint to megawatts. Gigawatts. I'm underestimating. Gives me great pleasure, yes, speaking in terms of megawatts. Gives me great pleasure to invite the president to the stage to deliver the keynote address and give us a message of what is to happen from here going forward. Thank you.
Please let the seated. Program Director, Your Excellencies, number of countries that are Now, this summit provides what I call a platform for a shared continental great ambition. Now, this is the inaugural Africa Hydrogen Summit, and the minister is correct in saying, I did say, let's dub it the Africa Summit, Hydrogen Summit. And I'm rather glad that we acceded to that with his colleagues, that we are actually holding this as the Africa Hydrogen Summit. Our beloved continent, Africa, a cradle of humanity, as Arpinia said today, is uniquely positioned to become a major player in green hydrogen because it has abundant renewable resources that manifest themselves in high solar irradiation, strong winds, and hydropower potential. The vast land of our continent is also, or it lends itself to large-scale renewable energy projects. We are therefore perfectly placed to leverage the global shift towards cleaner energy sources for our collective advantage as the entire continent. Green hydrogen is a way to marry our continent's mineral riches with our renewable energy endowments to decarbonize particularly heavy industries, to create jobs, to stimulate investment, and to unlock inclusive growth across the various borders. Now, the growing global demand for clean hydrogen as countries decarbonize their industries, as they decarbonize transport, as they also embark on energy systems, presents unlimited opportunities for our continent. Now, as demand for green hydrogen grows, so does demand for platinum group metals, sustaining and expanding our continent's mining and refining industries. So in a way, many, many ways, Africa is rising to meet this moment of opportunity and potential. And many people would argue that this truly is Africa's century. The Africa Green Hydrogen Alliance brings together a number of African nations, including, as we heard, Egypt, Kenya, Mauritania, Mr. Ramaphosa referred to them, Morocco, our immediate neighbor, Namibia, as well as our own country, South Africa. More than 52 large-scale green hydrogen projects have been announced across the continent, and these include the Goha Green Ammonia project in South Africa, the Amman project in Mauritania, and the project Nori in Morocco. Now, these are big and mega projects. The Alliance's ambition targets 30 to 60 million tons of green hydrogen production by 2050. Now, this should be a great envy by those countries that once saw Africa as a place to come and just extract minerals and I shouldn't say plunder, but come and extract the wealth of our continent. It is estimated that this could create quite a number of jobs. And of course, we could count to up to 2 million jobs that could be created, or even 4 million jobs in Alliance member states by 2050. And this will require us to implement our ambition. To make use of these opportunities, we need to establish appropriate policy and regulatory environments. And we now have to go beyond just talking about them. Minister Ramaphosa refers to this, and I'm rather glad that this is the discussion that is going on in a And we commend the work of countries like Mauritania, which has taken early steps with regard to certification. It will be critical that we learn from one another and also converge on standards that work for Africa. And it is here where the African Union will play a key role as it combines and unites all of us. And we now have officials who have been put in key positions, like my sister, Rada Matawoka, who are going to make sure that yes, we move towards proper systems, proper regulatory processes. The recently launched Green Hydrogen Project is a consolidation of 35 underlying studies, providing the most comprehensive insight to date into the continent's green hydrogen potential. A number of recent global developments further support our continent's potential on green hydrogen and enhancing this ecosystem. The H2 Global Mechanism is opening its second window with one of the 4 lots allocated to our continent. The African lot, which is gladly funded by one of the countries that is participating here, Germany, will guarantee offtake for successful projects on our continent. A joint declaration of intent with the German government focuses on market access, offtake opportunities, and value additive benefits in the production of green steel as well as green fertilizer. And we're talking about fertilizer in various summits, and I recall how at the G7 we spoke about fertilizer, even beyond the shortage of fertilizer in the wake of the Ukraine-Russia conflict. We commend the German government for its commitment to African supply. For South Africa's part, we've made advances towards building the green hydrogen industry. Minister Ramaphosa was outlining precisely the number of steps that we have taken and we are taking. And it has, beyond just being addressed in the State of the Nation address, been an area of great focus amongst our officials, and I'm glad to say amongst our business people as well. Today, South Africa has invested more than 1.5 billion rand in our Hydrogen South Africa program. Through our partnership with the European Union, we have prioritized support to projects like Sasol's High Shift program, which aims to produce up to 400,000 tons of sustainable aviation fuel annually. The project directly supports African reindustrialization in many, many ways, as well as European energy transition goals. Now, the High Shift program will anchor demand for up to 20 gigawatts of green hydrogen and represents a scalable model for industrial decarbonization. The Sasolburg pilot is now producing green hydrogen for domestic use. In the Eastern Cape, the Coca Green Ammonia project is at an advanced planning stage for 4 additional flagship hydrogen projects that are expected to be submitted to Cabinet to be approved very soon. The newly launched South African Renewable Energy Master Plan aligns the localization of renewable energy and hydrogen components with industrial development, as well as another important priority of our country, which is fabrication. The expansion of the country's electricity transmission infrastructure. And if there's anything that Mr. Ramaphosa has a slightly greater ability to do approaches that he has been given, and he is already excelling in that. And this is essential to the growth of renewable energy in our country, and it is now being accelerated through what he has inaugurated, the Independent Transmission Projects Office. New wheeling regulations create an enabling environment to enable the private power producers, especially those receiving hydrogen projects, to participate in a more meaningful way. Now, these reforms demonstrate that we are not waiting, we are not sitting by, and as participants here, he's a good learner, he learned very quickly. He just hears some words and he repeats them. And with meaning as well. Not like a parrot. Another premier was like a parrot. He's very well schooled in this. But more seriously, moving from PowerPoint to not gig of what, but terabyte. That's what now all this needs to be supported by research, because we need to base what we do on science. We need to base what we do on evidence. Now, major research is underway in all aspects of the green hydrogen value chain to reduce final costs, because we need to look at the cost line. Now, early commercial exploration for naturally occurring white hydrogen is underway in the provinces of Limpopo, Mpumalanga, and Gauteng. If white hydrogen is proven to be available and commercially extractable, this will provide a further source of clean hydrogen. Now, tapping into the potential of the hydrogen economy is a matter of great urgency for our continent. The continent has borne the brunt of climate change and the devastation it causes in communities and economies is enormous. As Premier was saying, right now, the Eastern Cape is suffering from the floods that are unprecedented and that have already killed easily more than 49 people. And I will be going there tomorrow to go and see exactly how our people are suffering there, how we can console the families, and how we can come up with consistent measures from a disaster point of view to give real support to ordinary people, those who have suffered this loss, and we pay our condolences to those families that have lost their loved ones, and how we can support the Eastern Cape government to deal with this disaster, as well as the local governments in the area. We've witnessed deadly heat waves, heavy rains, fires here in this province in the Western Cape as well. We've also witnessed tropical cyclones in other parts of our continent, and prolonged droughts, particularly in the Free State and in the Eastern Cape. These events underscore our shared vulnerability, but also our shared responsibility to act and to adapt, and to do so in a way that leaves none of our people and none of our communities behind. Now, at the same time, we are clear that our continent, Africa, must transition at a pace and at a scale that reflects our development priorities and our economic realities. Because our development priorities and our economic realities are unique to our continent. A continent that has suffered the ravages of colonialism, and in our own country of apartheid, which held our continent and our people back for tens and tens, if not hundreds of years. Now we need to deal with that part of our history as we determine precisely what we should do now and plot our way to the future. We're very much alive to the reality that green hydrogen production faces a number of challenges, really. There is a cost factor. Capital intensity and the high cost of financing are significant barriers, as is the cost of green hydrogen relative to other energy sources, such as natural gas, for instance. We are also contending with skewed global investment patterns. A number of green hydrogen projects on our continents are not being initiated, and they are also not reaching financial close due to the cost of capital and the perceptions of risk. And when many would-be financiers look at our continent, the various parts of our continent, they just see risk and then they pull back. We cannot close that gap with potential alone. We must match it with demand signals, regulatory certainty, as well as project preparation support. We need to ensure that there is sufficient and growing demand so that we can scale up our own capability in this area. This includes building domestic demand in African countries. In this regard, the launch of the green hydrogen production for mobility in Swaziland, for instance, as well as policy enablers for domestic offtake, are important foundational steps that need to be taken. As we explore these exciting and unprecedented opportunities, we must work to address the impediments to growth in this industry. In 2024, the International Energy Agency reduced the global 2030 hydrogen forecast, or growth forecast. It said that the sector is now maturing and moving possibly beyond the hype observed in recent years. It said that understanding among stakeholders about where the real opportunities for hydrogen lie and where efforts must be made is now much more stronger. Now, tempered by these realities, it is this summit that you are attending today that must not only be a platform for ideas, and as we said, you'll be seeing a lot of PowerPoints. You need to move beyond those ideas that are projected in the PowerPoint and begin to deal with how we can turn all these ambitions into real commitments that are implementable. We must therefore put our continent, particularly the African voice, at the center of global energy rulemaking. We must be the authors of our own future. And that is why I did say I'd like us to dub this an Africa Green Hydrogen Summit. During its G20 presidency, as you heard, South Africa has chosen to prioritize just energy transitions as engines of economic growth and social development. We will be proceeding to Canada to attend the G7 just a few days. This is the message that we will be projecting to the leaders of the G7, that our agreement, our objective with our G20, South Africa's G20, is to focus precisely on issues of energy. The African Green Hydrogen Summit is an important part of the vision that we are going to project there. Hydrogen is a bridge to a new export industry for African countries. It is an enabler to Africa's energy independence and climate resilience as well. More importantly, hydrogen in the end is an anchor for industrial transformation called upon to join hands